Back in 2002, BloodRayne had a concept to die for. A sexy, leather-clad vampire, or to be more accurate, half-vampire, slashing apart Nazis during World War II. Killing Nazis has always been one of gamers' favorite pastimes, but now we had a super badass half-vampire doing it on our behalf as opposed to some nondescript soldier with a rifle. It was a concept on paper that was too good to be true. And the game, while it failed to completely meet its potential, was a good one. Its sequel I felt was better, although I always regretted that it ditched the World War II setting, and what seemed to be a promising franchise was suddenly and tragically cut short by Uwe Boll. Yes, the man, the myth, the legend. He got his mitts on BloodRayne and released a trilogy of bad movie adaptations that pretty much put a stake in the heart of our beloved Rain. Alone in the Dark released another game, and a solid one, after his movie botch job, and both the Dungeon Siege and Far Cry franchises managed to move on as well, and I hope the same will be true of BloodRayne one day. But until then, Rain stars in her first downloadable platformer, subtitled Betrayal, doing her best Simon Belmont impersonation. Fans of the series have at least been thrown a bone. No one can deny that. As for the game itself, Betrayal trades in the look of its predecessors for a cartoonish, almost anime flavor that, admittedly, can be a bit jarring if you're a stalwart of the series. Rain only faintly resembles the character we know and love because of the trademark leather bodysuit and wrist blades she wields. The fact that she enters each side-scrolling level via a rocket-propelled coffin is also a bit of a ridiculous departure, to say the least. But at its core, Betrayal is a throwback to games like Castlevania and should not be compared with its last-gen retail counterparts. The look of the game is pretty damn awesome once you get used to it. Suitably gothic, blood-drenched, well-rendered, well-conceived, and well-animated. Granted, some of the early vampires Rain shears her way through are blue-suited, blonde-haired carbon copies of one another, but the tougher mutant opponents later on are certainly grotesque and distinctive. And Rain has her usual methods of dispatching her foes on hand for this latest adventure, her blades, a few trusty firearms, and the ability to feed on the blood of her stunned opponents to regain some of her own health. These are all familiar activities if you played a BloodRayne game in the past. A new one is flitting about some levels in the shape of a white crow or infecting your enemies and using them as detonating bombs. Unfortunately, most of the levels in Betrayal have the same color palette and could be mistaken for one another. I also found the opera rock soundtrack to be pretty annoying, like something out of a Meatloaf album, and since Meatloaf was in Uwe Boll's movie, that's a strange coincidence, come to think of it. But that's neither here nor there. The night, and if you're a BloodRayne fan eagerly waiting for a next installment that may or may never arrive, then I recommend Betrayal. It's a challenging retro side-scroller that doesn't get bogged down with such trivial matters as storytelling or character development. It cuts right to the chase with its combat-intensive platforming action. One just wishes it offered a bit more level variety, and maybe a Nazi or two.